Hello, and welcome back to home. This is Zero, coming back at you with the Rika deck profile from about a week ago when I faced off against Scareclaw. This is my Rika build. It's purely for fun, but I really like it. It's really good. Plants one of my favorite archetypes of all time. And so let's just dive right into it. So this is the first card, Rickapedal. It recently just like jacked up in price, but it's a fantastic card for plants in general. It has two really good effects. It can either send a Rika to the graveyard or add to your hand. You're usually going to add a monster to your hand. The second effect is if you control no monsters or all your monsters are plants during your opponent's end phase, you can special summon it. So it makes a very good comeback play if you're getting behind, and it's just an all-around fantastic card. It'd be 1-for-1. It's a plant. It's really good. It's the starter for all your plays. The next card we have is Primalo, the Rika Fairy. A really good extender for the deck. She has two effects. Her first effect is if a plant monster is tributed, she can special summon herself from your hand. Really good extender, can get you into some really good plays. The second effect is you can target two monsters on your field, and you can increase the level by 2. You're not going to use that effect a lot, but the extender part is really important, so you get more monsters on board and more materials to link, fusion, XC, or synchro. Okay, one of the ace monsters for the deck, Snowdrop, the Rikka Fairy, is fantastic. This is what really gets you going in the deck. You can tribute a plant monster on your board to special summon her and another plant. The reason why that's so good is because it gets you into your XC plays, into free links, or into any combos that would force out from a special summon. Her second effect, which is also really good, is you target one plant on your field, and then all plant monsters on the field become that level, which can lead to really interesting synchro plays. You can make good XCs with low level monsters, and you can go into so many different things. It's a one-card teardrop, which is really good all around. Very solid monster. Now, the new star from Power of the Elements is Rikka Princess. Really good. It's the bigger version of Petal. She really gave the deck something, because what the deck was lacking was a lot of interaction with the opponent. They had a few things, though they weren't as good. Like Rika Flurries was okay, but it wasn't that good at interacting with the opponent. And some of the trap cards were kind of niche. Though Rikka Princess offers now a negate, so its two effects are you can special summon it from your hand for no cost, and the only condition is that while she's on the field, you can only special summon plant monsters. The second effect is that if she's in the graveyard or the hand, you contribute a plant, and the Rick is on the field, you contribute a plant from the field to negate a monster effect your opponent controls. Really, really good. Combined with Concon, it makes like an unstoppable board where you're getting rid of their monsters, clearing out effects, you're getting free specials, she's shuffling back herself, you're not going to deck out. Really fantastic. I give this card a 2 thumbs up. Here, 2 of these things. Fantastic. I'm only playing 2 because I thought 3 was a little cloggy, and I have some different engines in the deck I want to introduce. So next card is I play 1 Cyclamen. Cyclamen is just a really good beater. She's 1800, level 4. She has 2 effects. They're kind of niche. The first one is you contribute her from your hand to reduce 2 monsters on the field by 2 levels. The second effect is if she's tributed this turn, she can special summon herself at the end phase, but she gets banished. It sometimes come in clutch, but the 1800 attack is what really makes her spectacular, because she can push for game in the deck a lot earlier. Some of the plant monsters don't have any attack or have low attack. She has very high attack and a very nifty way to modulate levels. I play 1 Erica. She's essentially the honest of the deck. When a plant monster, when a attack with a plant monster is declared, you contribute her from your hand to give that plant monster an extra 1000 attack. Really good, fantastic card. Her second effect is if a plant monster is tributed on the field, she can special summon herself from the graveyard and banish herself. That effect doesn't come up a lot. I usually use her as a hand trap when I'm adding a bunch of plants to hand, so that's her main utility. Now another MVP of the deck is I play one Mudan. A lot of lists are playing two of this because with the arrival of the new field spell and some of the other spells, it just really wombo combos. But her effect is simple. You contribute a plant monster on the field to special summon her. And the second effect is she special summoned by a plant monster's effect. You can search your deck for a Rika Spore trap. Really simple, to the point. You can run one or two of these. Really fantastic card. Now, the last of the Rika lineup, as I play one Hellbore. She is super, super niche, but I really like the art and I really love the effects. Her first effect is if a Rika on the field is a plant monster is targeted on the field while you have control Rika, you contribute her from the hand to negate that effect. I think it only stops monsters. Yeah, targeting by a monster, I believe. Let me triple check that. Yeah, it has to be a monster effect. But still, fantastic card because the second effect is you contribute a plant monster on your field to special summon from graveyard. So you got instant level 8, a 26 beater. They can hit over a lot of things. Hit over Toad. It's pretty good. Okay, that's it for the Rika lineup. So now I go into the plant engines. So I think people may be familiar with the Predator Plant engine. I will explain it just in case because there's a new card in the mix. So we have Orphan Scorpio. If it's normal or special, you can send a monster from your hand to graveyard to special a Predator Plant from your deck. Usually your target is Giant Cobra. If it's special from the deck, you can search your deck for a fusion spell. Usually that fusion spell is going to be instant fusion. And with the introduction of the new Predator Plant Fusion level 5, Embolometes, it goes into extreme combos. Now this is the new card I'm running, is Predator Plant Blips. It's a level 1 target for like 1-for-1, and it can be special off of the new fusion. Its effect is simple. If it's into the graveyard, you can add any Predator Plant monster from your deck to your hand. Second effect is if there's a Predator Plant counter on the field, it can special summon itself from the graveyard. I don't really use that effect that often. I use the effect to usually add another Predator Plant, another Orphan Scorpio to my hand to just have another fodder for discarding or any material I need. So this is the Predator Plant engine I'm running. Next up, we got the small Rose engine. I really like Rose Girl. I think everyone likes Rose Girl. She's a tuner. She has 2 effects. You can only use one of them per turn. The first one is if a plant is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon her. And the other effect is if there's a plant on your field, you can add it back to your hand. Can go into really good synchro plays, good extender, good recovery card, great option. Now a card that when I was trying to build the deck and look into stuff, I really like this card, Rose Fairy. If it's added to your hand by any way, you can special summon her. It makes some of those cards that search for just plants to your hand an instant, link 2 or link 3 play. You can get into your Bingo Lancer, get into your Dance Peony, get into your Jasmine. It's actually really good. So like if anything recurs to your hand, you get a free spec. And that it doesn't have to be from deck. Oh, it has to be from deck. Whoops, my bad. So that's it from deck. But that there's a lot of stuff that grabs from deck. So next couple cards is my Arrow Mage engine. I play a Arrow Mage Laurel, and I play an Arrow Mage Angelica. Laurel is very simple. If I have more life points than the opponent, he can special summon himself. And the second effect is if you send a graveyard, you get 5 life points. Really good for triggering off Jasmine, and really good for activating some of the Arrow Mage effects. Arrow Mage Angelica is a level 1 tuner. Really good effect. And oh, hey, I forgot. Laurel has the other effect that if it's special summoned, I think you get to make a plant a tuner to go into some of your synchros. Angelica is a tuner. She discards herself to target the Arrow Mage in the graveyard, and you gain life points equal to its attack. And the second effect is if your life points are higher and you control Arrow Mage, you can special summon her. So both great extenders. Great extenders, gives you more life than your opponent. Very solid cards. And then I'm running one Martel. Martel is a very generic plant monster. When she special summons, she can grab you any plant from your deck. That's what the combo I was mentioning with the Rose Girl. She can essentially add her straight from the deck and get a Rose Fairy, and you can get a straight special summon instead of trying to sustain a graveyard first with Rose Girl. So that is really handy. Besides that, she's a 24/24. She's a good body. She's level 9, so you can actually go into what's his name? Hyperion. There you go. Okay. Now, generic plant stuff I'm running 3 Evil Thorn. I really love this card. It was really hard to get your hands on for a while because it was a little bit expensive, but I really like it. You can, when it's on the board, you can tribute it to special 2 Evil Thorns from your deck and bring a point for 300. You can actually get most of your Air Mage effects off because since you get the initial burn, the Air Mage effects are all live, like having more life points to your opponent, they're all good. And not only does it get you 2 level 1 materials to go into like any Xyz, it can make you dance Peony or any, you know, Jasmine or anything you want. It is risky though, because if it gets Valor to Ash, you're in a world of pain, but normally you have so many extenders because it tributes itself. Because it tributes itself, most of the Rikkas kind of look at that and say, hey, we can trigger our effects off that. And if you just want more materials to tribute for their own effects, it's a really good extender. Now, I got Spore and I got Lone Fire, some old staples for plants. Lone Fire, really fantastic. You can contribute any plant on the board to special plant from deck. Can make any really bad board go to really good instantly. Spore, very self-explanatory effect. It banishes a plant monster from the graveyard to special summon itself, and it gains that many levels based on the plant you banish. So you can go to different synchro plays, your XC plays, or just an extender to go into links. Now, this card got really expensive because with the combination with Concon, it's really good. This is Rikka Glamour. It's the search spell for the deck, and what it does is that for the cost of activation, you may tribute a plant monster. So that is, as soon as you activate it, you have to tribute. It's the part of the cost. You don't have to tribute, but you don't get the additional effect. The additional effect is that, well, let me get started with the first effect. The first effect is to add a Rikka monster to your hand. The second effect that tags on if you tribute an extra monster is that you may add a plant monster with the same level from your deck to your hand as well. So if you add a level 8 Rikka monster, you can add a level 8 plant to your hand as well. And so it combos really well with a lot of the even level monsters or level 1 monsters. Like for instance, you could add Rickapedal and then you could add Spore. That's, you know, pretty good combo. So really fantastic. With the combination with, I'll explain the Concon combos in 1 second when I play the card down, but the reason why this went up so much is because Concon is just absolutely fantastic. So getting to the reason why this deck became meta is because Rikka Concon. This field spell dynamically changed the deck forever. It has 2 really strong effects. The first one being you can essentially set, if you control Rikka monsters, set any Rikka spell or trap you want from your deck instantly. That makes all your traps live, no longer breaks. All the Rikka Glamour spell really good because you can instantly set it and get a search. But the thing that makes the deck crazy is that the second effect is if a Rikka card were to activate its effect, you may tribute one of your opponent's monsters instead. Now that just blew the deck out the water because essentially it made every card in this a kaiju, a non-targeting tribute to get rid of monsters that, you know, have impervious effects, omni negates, a bunch of different things, because these cards mostly activate as cost for their activations, and since they're cost, they're not really you can't really chain negates to them. And so if Concon's on the board and I'm already set up, or Rikka Glamour is already on the board, I'm going to tribute your monster and get a search too. Or I can tribute your monster to spec 2, to search, to essentially do everything in the deck. And so Rikka Concon really pushed deck over the edge. I'm only playing 1 in this build because again, this is a funsy build. I want to just have fun, you know, on the weekend with friends. That's what this deck is for. But seeing its meta prowess and how it's doing in the meta game, I might have to consider it, you know, playing with the Sun Avalon build. But Concon is push this deck over the edge. Now I'm playing 1 instant fusion, 1 for 1 called by, some staples, you know, you discard a monster to special level 1 from deck, you pay 1,000, so it's a level 5 lower fusion, and called by the grave, you banish a monster from the opponent's graveyard, and the effects are no longer a thing. I think these are some pretty staple cards. Playing these for all extenders and prevent people from hand trapping me. Now I'm playing 2 Arrow Mage traps. I'm playing Humid Winds and Blessed Winds. Humid Winds to pay 1,000 to search for Arrow Mage monster, and then you may pay 500 if you're under your opponent's life points. Blessing is has multiple effects to either send, shuffle back, or to spec Arrow Mage by you gain life points, or you pay life points to special summon. So that's what it does. You can send back one from your graveyard to get 500, send one back from your field to gain 500, or you get special air mage from your graveyard. First of 8,000. Pretty good. It actually combos into Madoran and some other good cards from the air mage lineup. Now the last cards I have is one Rikka Sheep and one Rikka Tranquility. They both have the same text line as the spell card Rikka Glamour, which is as an additional cost to activate this card, you contribute a monster on the board. Combined with Concon, it just made the deck blow up because it used to be that you have to contribute your own monsters to get these effects off, but now you contribute theirs to essentially do a lot of things. Rikka Sheep is a glorified Widow Anchor. It's a little worse than Widow Anchor because it says target a monster on your opponent's board, and they can't activate the effects per turn. But if you already activate it, it's kind of missing timing. But the thing you want to do is when they normal summon and it's your turn to interact, you can activate it and activate the second effect, which is if you tribute a monster, it can grab that monster from their board and goes under your control as a plant monster until the end of the turn. And so you can attribute for your other effects, or you can just keep them from having a resource on their board. Won me a lot of games, especially with Concon, because now you contribute one monster on their board to take another monster that they have, so they can't even, you can take their extender, take their starter, and then they can't do anything. It's kind of nutty. Rico Tranquility is a nice comeback card. It tributes any, again, you tribute any monster on your board, or now with Concon on their board, and you can special summon a plant monster, a Rikka monster, but if you do the second effect, you get special summon a plant monster along with the Rikka monster. You get it's a monster born times 2. It's really fantastic. I think the only condition on this card is they have to be in advanced edition, so no links. And that was it for the main deck. So I'm going to go on to the extra deck. The extra deck will be pretty fast. I think plants have a pretty same extra deck. So we're going to start off with 2 Aromatic Jasmine, the go-to plant girl. She's super cute, and you definitely want to play her because she's got 2 effects that are pretty nice. The first one is she's essentially low fire blossom, but to whatever pointer she's pointing to, she can contribute that monster, and especially any plant monster from the deck. Second effect is if you gain life points, you can add a plant monster from your deck to your hand. And that effect is not once per turn. So it's a soft once per turn, meaning that if you have 2 copies of this and you gain life points, you can add 2 plant monsters. Really, really good synergy with all the life point gaining trap cards and Laurel. I'm playing only 1 Dance Peony. She's the new Sylvan monster that came out in the previous set in Defo, and she's really good. When she's link summoned, you can activate the top 3 and special summon 2 plants, and the rest go to graveyard. But they can't be used as link material. Very important. The second effect is that whatever monster she's pointing to, like some of these zones, you can target a monster in graveyard and they become that level. So you can do XC plays if you milled out a good monster, and she gets you 2 extra materials, and they can be used for anything. And they can extend you into other stuff. So she is just really, really good for deck. But only 1 because, again, this is on link summon, and most of her effects are hard ones per turn. I play 1 Needle Fiber, or maybe Halka Fiber, excuse me. There's so many tuners in the deck that you could just grab, like Spore, you got Rose Girl, and you contribute into a synchro tuner, which is, I play 1, so I can Black Rose on their turn. I'll explain that in a second. But still, one of the best cards in the game. I hope he doesn't get banned. He might, but you never know. I played 1 Big Lance of the Resurgent, the king plant monster for plants as of recent. His effect is you can choose 1 effects per turn. You can target a monster in the opponent's board, and you take damage equal to its attack, but you bounce it. You can get rid of a lot of palm cards like Mirror Jade and things that have like really annoying effects in the graveyard. Albeit you'll be taking the damage, but hopefully with the Air Mage combo, you should be at a higher life gain than your opponent. So it shouldn't hurt you that much, and it should be to get rid of a lot of big threats. The second effect is you can banish link monsters from your graveyard up to the amount of this card's link rating, and you can special summon from your graveyard. So if you got like some of the dead link 2s, you can banish them and then special summon. But he gets banished when he leaves the board. So he's really good, fantastic card. Okay, the next card I want to go over is Predator Plant Embolometes, the new level 5 plant fusion. Just so good. He can be instant fusion. That's just crazy to me. and he has 2 really good effects. On summon, search for a plant monster, and his second effect is to tribute a monster on the board and to get another plant from your deck onto the board. So 2 really good effects. I don't remember his I think he has a 3rd effect. Yeah, well, that's part of the 3rd effect. Is the part of the 2nd effect is that if you contribute a plant counter monster instead of tributing a monster to get a monster from the deck. So, but like it doesn't matter because you're always getting another monster. You're getting either blips, you're either getting Darling Krogo or your last Orphan Scorpio on board. And the fact he's level 5, you can go into certain synchro plays and do a lot of different things. So good, really good. I play 1 Black Rose. Some people just have too much advantage. Floodgates are a thing, and you just have to blow up their board to just get the board state reset. Because sometimes if they get ahead of you, there's just no coming back, and you go. I play 1 Paralysis, Empress of Blossoms, because he can push for game. She gains 400 attack for each other plant monster on the board, and she specials level 5 or lower plant from the graveyard. 5 or higher plant from the graveyard. In defense position, and she can just push for game, hop over big things if you have a big board, and gets rid of annoying stuff that can only be killed by battle or something. So, really good card. Really easy to make. She's level 7. I play 1 Sweet Madoran, the main Air Mage Synchro monster. When she's special summoned, you can add one of the traps to your hand, and then her other effect is, if you gain life points, you can pop something. Really good interaction and an uninterruptible card. If you search any of the cards that make you gain life points, you can pop a card on the opponent's board. Really good. The first effect, which comes in handy, is that if you're at higher life points than your opponent, plant monsters can't be targeted. So she protects every plant. It doesn't have to be Air Mage, doesn't have to be anything. If you're at higher life points, they can't target anything. And usually that wins me a lot of games because a lot of stuff, you don't know it, but a lot of stuff targets in this game. If they can't do it, then they're out of luck. Oh dang, I totally forgot. Jasmine has the effect of your high life points. Whatever she points to, can't destroy battle. Totally forgot. Okay, now my last synchro, Garden Rose Flora. Garden Rose Flora. She's a synchro turn in the deck. She can pop a field spell on the board, and she gives whoever popped the field spell a level 2 plant token and locks the person who activated the effect into plant synchro monsters. And then she has every synchro turn effect. She can synchro on the opponent's main phase. So the reason I'm playing her is because she's summoned by Needle Fiber, Halka Fiber X, and she can synchro into a Black Rose on their turn, interrupting their entire board. And where I don't mind, where I can rebuild with Petal or any of the other Rikka monsters, it doesn't matter to me. And if they have a really annoying field spell, I can just destroy it. Can't destroy Mystic Mind, but you can destroy a lot of Dragon Ravine, a lot more annoying field spells Perlino, things that are really good. Give them a token because they need a token for having a broken field spell. Okay. And then I play 1 Sylvan Princess Sprite. Really good card. You make it off your pet. You have too many petals on board. You have a Spore. You have a Blips. You have a whole bunch of level 1s. You can just make it to her. You can detach 1 to Excavate, and if you get a Spore Trap, you have to hand. If it's a monster mill, usually both those things in a plant deck are good. If you're adding a Spore Trap, you're usually going to a control piece, or if you're milling a monster, you can mill it into a combo piece. So it's really good. Actually, really fun fact is that her second effect, you can tribute a plant monster on your board to a Sylvan. And she's a Sylvan, so you can special summon her, and then you can go into, hey look, Bingo Lancer. Well, it was another plant, of course, because Link 2. But it can make for a good combo to bring her back after getting her. So, I thought that was a really nifty combo. Okay, that was Princess Sprite. I played 1 Hyperion. Hyperion is the Omni negate of the deck, although it kind of fails at being that sometimes. It has 2 effects. The first effect is that only during my turn, the player's turn, if you activate a card effect, you can add a card of that same type from your graveyard into its icing materials. So if I activate a spell, I can add a spell to it. If I activate a trap, I can add a trap to it. If I activate a monster, I can add a monster to it. and only during your opponent's turn, once per turn, if they were to activate any card, monster, spell, or trap, you can detach that appropriate card from its materials to negate that effect. So at most, you're probably getting like 2 monsters and maybe a spell card if you activate a spell card for a combo. So the only thing I don't like about him is that the negate is only during the opponent's turn. It can actually mess you up sometimes. So making during the opponent's turn is an option, which I'm going to have to get into. So this is the Rika portion of the Xyz. So I played 1 Rika Queen Strena. This card was also really, really good. Kind of slept on because essentially it came out so long ago and it didn't exactly help the deck when it's needed. But right now it's so good. Which is, the first effect is you can detach 1 to add any Rika card from your graveyard to your hand or plant monster. So anything that you cycle through, anything you need back, if they pop your field spell, if you need one of your traps back, you can get anything back. It's incredible. And the second effect is even better. If it has a material, if it has a Xyz material while it's tributed, you can special summon her back and special summon any rank, I think it's rank 6 or higher. Let me double check. Rank 5 or higher plant from your deck. So like if she's tributed, you can go into Hyperion on their turn. So you can use a trap, you can go into him, or you can go into the Rika Xyz, which I'm about to introduce. But she's really, really good. You need to play like 1 or 2 of these at least. Now, what people don't really play, but I like playing, is I play 1 Kanzashi. Kanzashi is really good as a protection option. She has 2 really good effects. The first effect is if a plant monster would be destroyed by card effect, you can tribute a plant from your hand or graveyard. And the second effect is if you tribute a plant monster, you can detach 1 to special summon a monster from your opponent's grave from, I think it's either graveyard. Is it either graveyard? Oh yeah, 1 monster in either graveyard is special summon. So you can get some of their pieces, extensions, their other combos, get that nasty Celestial to make DPE. You can grab their DPE. You know, it's actually really good. So if you tribute a monster, she can grab it. And it's either player's turn. So it's really good. It kind of slept on, but it's kind of good. Only really for the Rika, like the Rika deck itself. Playing some Avalon, not really. When I play 1 Teardrop, now this card makes the deck. She's the queen. I kneel, you know. So her 2 effects are really, really good. First effect is that for every time a plant monster is tributed, she gets 200 attack. The other effect is you can detach 1 to tribute any monster on the opponent's board. And that effect becomes a quick effect if she has a plant material. She's always going to have a plant material. Unless you're playing her in some like rank 8 deck, she's always going to have a plant material. So she's your interaction, your disrupt. So she's one of the best cards in the entire deck. Okay, so that was the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was fun. Rika is one of my favorite plant archetypes in a very, very long time. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any opinions on the deck or anything you can change, or you got your own spice, let me know. Okay, hone out.